I am Jason Abraham, the Shadow Teacher 33. And this channel, this YouTube channel, the Shadow Teacher 33 YouTube channel, is ultimately dedicated to exploring the possibilities of human potential. And sometimes that looks like digging into spirituality. Sometimes that looks like digging into a UFO phenomenon. Sometimes that looks like digging into programs that hold us back, and then sometimes that looks into personal development or law of attraction work. So today I'm going to talk about some ideas in this book, The Big Leap. And The Big Leap is all about taking a leap to an expanded state of being. It's exploring the concept that many of us have limiting beliefs. And when we start to hit a flow state, we start to hit a place to where we're feeling expanded success in one or more areas of our life, there are programs within us that pull us back from going forward or counter the success we're having in one area of life and seem to sabotage us. And it's going off the premise that one can never be happy enough, one can never have enough happiness, wealth, and success. Now, I'm a believer, again, that part of our world is not going to be without suffering. The idea that we're going to live without negative experiences and pain is delusional. But I do believe many of us, me included, that's why I'm reading this book, are guilty of sabotaging ourselves. We're guilty of holding ourselves back from an expanded state of being. So this book kind of looks into 4 modes of operation that people operate in. They operate lowest level, zone of incompetence. This is stuff that you're not good at doing and stuff you don't want to do. Next level, zone of competence. This is low level tasks that you are competent at but not exceptional at, and maybe you don't want to do as well. Zone of excellence, something you excel at, something that you are truly great at but are not necessarily passionate about. And then the highest level is the zone of genius, which is something you are exceptional at and you are truly passionate about. This is the unique gift that you offer the world by your spirit being here. And so the idea of the book is we want to spend more time in the zone of genius, and we don't want to spend any time, if possible, in the zone of incompetence, or minimalize our time in the zone of incompetence, outsource the zone of competence to someone else, and with the zone of excellence, again, spend less time there and more in that zone of genius. Easier said than done, right? Otherwise you'd have people en masse going out and living their potential and would not feel the need to watch videos such as this one. But one of the ideas, first of all, we have to be aware of what our zone of genius is, and it offers some exercises, some reflective questionings. Same thing I talk about, reflecting, contemplative meditation, reflecting, asking certain questions that put you in a reflective mode. And what you see is you'll find something that you're really good at. You can look back, if you reflect into your life, you find times and events that you've demonstrated excellence in some area. And when that excellence is combined with that passion, that's where your zone of genius is. Those are indications of you going into that zone of genius. And I've definitely done that in bursts. I've been in my zone of genius in bursts in many times in my life, but it's come and gone. But one of the themes is dedicating yourself to living in that zone of genius, being that being the place that you live at. And I'm dedicated to that. And an idea is when you understand what that zone of genius is and you've made that commitment to living there, you have to start saying no to things that pull you out of that. Saying no to demands on your time that might be in your zone of excellence but are going to pull you out. As I was saying before my storage ran out, I actually don't like to splice and edit these shadow teacher style videos, but sometimes my phone gets full, I forget to clean it out, and the data fills up, and here we go, and I'm in the middle of a thought, and boom, cuts out. But as I was saying, when we make that commitment to living in the zone of genius, then we got to say no. We're going to have demands on our time. We're going to have requests that are in our zone of excellence that pull us out of our zone of genius. And what I've found, for me to operate in my zone of genius, I need at least an hour and a half of open time. I need some time for silence. I need time of undisrupted time. Because in this silence, this is where creativity is born for me. This is where ideas flourish. This is where the alchemy happens in me, for me to use that creative energy. And that zone of genius. Again, genius, we are going to be tapping into something creative, that creative power that's within us. And so when we identify what that is and how it operates in us, then we got to start saying no. And the author of this book, The Big Leap, calls this the enlightened no. So it's, again, setting boundaries. It's saying we're going to make a choice. We're going to choose this one thing over here, which is our zone of genius, which may not be making money for us at the moment. To an outsider's eye, it may seem insane that we need this time to put into it, but we know it's something that's important for us. It's something that ultimately yields greater fruit in our lives and the world. So we're saying yes to that, and we got to say no to this other stuff out here, which a lot of times, as I say, it's in our zone of excellence. Stuff that often rewards us with money and rewards us with worldly accolades, but is not fulfilling to us in our heart. It's not something we're passionate about. When we're looking at archetypes, when we're always living in that zone of excellence, when we're choosing to do something we're great at that makes us a lot of money or wins us a lot of attention or worldly accolades, but something we're not passionate about, we're living out the archetype of the prostitute then. And so when we're in that zone of genius, we're living from the heart. We're living our greatest offering. And sometimes these offerings take time before the world reflects back the genius that is within us. If we look at genius from the past, if we look at the lives of many individuals from the past that are famous sometimes after their death, famous posthumously. Sometimes they lived very simple lives or were broke during their life. One I can think of is H.P. Lovecraft. Evidently he was not wealthy at all, but is looked at as a legendary horror writer now in this current time. And that's sometimes, if we're living in the zone of genius, sometimes that's the effect. That's not the idea of the book. This book's idea is that we're going to actually be able to reap rewards from that by making that choice. We'll see. The jury is out. The jury is out, at least for me, but I'm a believer in that idea. I found there to be great wisdom. When we find that zone of genius, we have to make space and time. We have to nourish it like a garden. And we've got to say no to other things that are going to take time away from that. So with that being said, I'm going to end this transmission. Be strong, be well, my friends, and I will see you on the other side.